From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes. Brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we slice and dice the always busy, always topical, super saturated Minnesota sports scene. And Wally, It's all about the purple right now. The 2-0 Minnesota Vikings off to a fantastic start. And a lot of people are saying Sam Darnold's a huge reason why, and I can't disagree with that. But I'm going to say it's the new version of the Purple People Eaters. That defense that Brian Flores has, causing chaos, confusion, and mayhem, has looked very good against the New York Giants and San Francisco. Boy, they are making plays.
Yeah, well, 6 sacks against the 49ers. I mean, that's huge. That is Purple People-esque, if you will. It really is. To borrow or coin a phrase. I had a question for you, though. How are your eardrums? I hear it was a little loud in there.
Yeah, the House of Noise was off the chain.
Okay. U.S. Bank Stadium blew your ears
A lot of it
off.
Artificial, but some of it natural when Sam Darnold threw the home run heave to Justin Jefferson.
Well, I can imagine.
Yards. That was an organic explosion
of course.
Noise. A lot of it, though.
What about the pregame stuff?
Oh, my goodness.
and the in-between commercials stuff.
They've got the PA announcer cranked up, to jet engine decibel levels, and they've got all the in-game announcements and advertisements on the scoreboard. Those are cranked up. They need to take it down a few notches. Believe me, it will be a better experience for everyone.
And then they get the play-by-play of the touchdown screaming into the microphone, exactly. And they blast those through your ears.
They had your favorite gimmick, though, wide open, the pivoting doors against San Francisco.
Well, my favorite gimmick is the fake snowflakes.
Oh, yeah.
Did they have that going, too?
They did. So on a day where it was like 88, 89 degrees, they dropped the fake snowflakes from the roof. Really? You guys play indoors. It's not going to snow there. And by the way, it was scorching hot on Sunday outside.
I can't believe they had those pivoting doors open, though. I mean, who's paying that electric bill, the AC bill? That cold air was blowing right through those doors.
You're right. I'm sure there were people who didn't have a ticket who just strolled up near the stadium to catch a whiff of that cool breeze. I'll cool down by standing outside of this place.
Yeah, well, perhaps the combination of the cool air and the warm air outside ignited your Vikings to a win. So, they played well at home against San Francisco, but they always play well at home against San Francisco, at least since 1992, because they haven't lost to them there since 1992.
8 in a row.
It is amazing.
And the 49ers usually have good teams. I know they've had some dips in that span, but they've basically been a solid organization for a long time. And I thought Brock Purdy, who I believe is a very good quarterback, never looked comfortable in the pocket. It was getting caved in by the Vikings pass rush. At times, he appeared to have happy feet. There was an interception. There was a fumble recovery, a blocked punt by C.J. Ham. You mentioned all the sacks and the tackles for losses.
Yep.
And, the combination was really impressive. And what I've always said, this is why I like San Francisco. They play old school football. They're physical. They come out and throw haymakers at you. The Vikings were more physical than the 49ers. They beat them at their very own game. And if that continues, I think the Minnesota Vikings could have a solid season.
Yeah. I did want to point out that not only did they play well defensively, but they got some big plays on offense. You mentioned Justin Jefferson. I think that last drive where they killed about 6 minutes, they got the ball, about the 9-minute mark, 10-minute mark, and they got it all the way down to 3 minutes, kicked the field goal to expand the lead to 9, and they end up winning the football game by 6. So I thought that was pivotal. Sam Darnold has been efficient, if nothing else, in his first couple of games. We'll see how long
on that drive you're talking about.
Yes.
There was a play, a 26-yard chunk play, where Jalen Naylor ran down the right seam and Sam Darnold threw a dot, and he delivered the ball before Naylor turned. It was a huge first down that got the Vikings into field goal range. And at that point, I said to myself, I think they're going to win this game, because they'll probably tack on 3 more minimum, which they did. But it was an outstanding throw by Darnold, and Naylor knew where to be. And Jalen Naylor and Sam Darnold haven't exactly been playing together for a long time.
No,
but they look like they did on that play.
Yeah, and the other thing about the 49ers, this team is a team that came in here a year ago, early in the season. They were favored. I believe it was a Monday night game, if I'm not mistaken, and the Vikings turned the tables on them. And then you would think 1 year later that they would have learned, but no, they did not. The Vikings did it to them again for the second straight year. They come in here as a favorite. What were they, about a 4 or 5 point pick, I think?
Yeah.
And the Vikings beat them again.
Yeah, they're the NFC champs. They took Kansas City to overtime in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Last year's score was 22-17 Minnesota. So this year it was even a bigger spread, 23-17. And, no Christian McCaffrey. Certainly that's a big loss for the 49ers. But this Jordan Mason ran for 100 yards and a touchdown. You really didn't see much of a drop-off. He's not catching the ball out of the backfield like C-Mac. But, they got enough weapons with Debo and those guys. It's a signature win for Minnesota. Now we get a Super Bowl preview. Houston 2-0, Minnesota 2-0 at the House of Noise. Here we go again.
You took the words right out of my mouth. So you have them in the Super Bowl is what you're telling me.
Of course, it's all.
Let me tell you something, man. About 2 weeks ago, you had them winning 5 games. You had them 5
I was
12.
not optimistic.
Okay, so now they're 1-2. How many do you think they're going to? Do you think they're going to win at least 5?
Well, based on what I've seen, yes. But let's remember, injuries are going to play a big part in this.
That's true.
We've already seen a lot of guys around the NFL go down like dominoes.
Well, Jefferson got banged up himself.
Yeah, quad injury.
Right.
San Francisco's dealing with it. Debo's now banged up. So, but yeah, they might make me eat my words and probably a lot of other people if they continue to play like this. Now, Houston has their own Super Bowl aspirations. We'll see C.J. Stroud and Daniil Hunter comes back. I think you got to give him a good ovation in the pregame. Then you boo him when the game starts.
I don't see a reason to boo.
Well, I mean, because he's on the enemy, the Texans.
All right, fair enough. We're going to talk some more football with a guy that knows a thing or two about quarterbacking.
Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame. Warren Moon will join us here on 10K Takes, your purple ticket.
Come and enjoy the 21st Annual Lakeville Art Festival, September 21st and 22nd. View original artwork from over 100 juried artists, accessibly located on the park-like grounds of the Lakeville Area Art Center in historic downtown Lakeville. Shop the art and enjoy live music, food court, and a beer and wine tent. Participate in art demos, community and youth art projects. There's something for everyone at the premier art festival south of the Twin Cities. Visit LakevilleArtFestival.org for more information.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect. Maya? Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Welcome back. Minnesota scores 10,000 takes, and as promised, we're going to talk some more National Football League. And who better to talk about the NFL than former Viking and Hall of Famer Warren Moon. Warren, welcome to the show. So you've seen what the Vikings have been able to do in the first couple of weeks with Sam Darnold as the quarterback. In what you have seen so far, why has Sam Darnold been, I guess effective would be the word, as compared to what he was with Carolina and with the New York Jets? Is it all about the guys, his surrounding cast?
Well, it's the surrounding cast, and it's also the coaching. You know, I think what really helped him was when he went and spent a year with Shanahan in San Francisco, and he got a chance to just sit, watch, and learn, and really got a chance to find out who he was as a quarterback and work on his mechanics, get his confidence back. And when he did get a chance to play there, he did pretty well. And I think the Vikings saw that, and that's why they brought him in. They saw a guy who was had been through some bad situations in Carolina and with the Jets. Probably wasn't ready to play right away coming out of college. He was a great athlete, but probably wasn't a polished quarterback. Now he's become that. And it takes some guys a little bit longer than others to get to that state. And I think he's finally there with the right type of coaching, under Kevin and also what he experienced under Shanahan.
And Warren, maybe facing that Minnesota defense in practice, led by the DC Brian Flores, a lot of chaos, confusion, mayhem. He's a guy that had some success in Miami. It was a very acrimonious ending, as you know. He's got a lawsuit against the NFL, which might be to the Vikings' advantage because he doesn't have a head coaching job, but he looks like one of the top defensive coordinators now. Just your thoughts on Brian Flores and what the defense has been able to do.
Well, they were really good on defense in Miami. He just didn't have the quarterback that he wanted, and I think they didn't draft the quarterback that he wanted when he was there. I think he wanted Justin Herbert, and they drafted Tua, and I think that's where the split came in the organization. But Brian has been known as one of the great DCs in this league, and he was that way in New England. He did a great job at Miami, and now he's doing a great job with the Vikings. And he has a defense that really can confuse quarterbacks because he does a lot of blitzing, and they come from a lot of different areas. You don't know exactly where they're coming from. They disguise things very well, and they put a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterback. So I like what the Vikings are doing on defense, and I like the fact that Sam is playing real good football. He had a ton of his yards on that one pass play to Jefferson for 97 yards, but you need some of those big plays in your offense in order to win football games. It's one thing to drive the ball down the field methodically. It's another to get those big explosive plays, and you can't get much more explosive than that.
Warren, and you know this better than anybody because you played in the NFL, but Tua Tagovailoa now has had multiple concussions. We all saw what happened against Buffalo in the Thursday night game, week 2. What do you think about his future? Some are saying he should retire. Others are saying get an independent analysis from a medical team and make your decision after that. But where is he right now as far as you're concerned?
Well, I think he's doing what he's supposed to do, is get as much information as he possibly can from experts in that field. They just put him on IR today. So he'll be out for at least the next 4 games, and that'll give him a lot of time to evaluate on what his health situation is, whether he should move forward. It sounds like he wants to move forward, and he wants to continue to keep playing. He probably does need this break from the game, and I think there's some things that the team can do to help protect him. And he's got to help protect himself, just like taking on that defensive back. He didn't need to do that. He could have slid. He had the first down, but he wanted to put his head down and make a point, and he ended up paying for it. So he can be smarter with the way he plays the game. I think they can do some things protection-wise to make sure they protect him better as far as keeping 6- and 7-man protections, things like that. And those things are going to take a little bit of the pressure off of him. But yeah, that's a decision that's a really tough one to make. Because if you've been playing football all of your life, and this is a game that you really love, and all of us take a chance every time we go out there and play. And I think if you asked any player, probably 95% of the players that have played the game, if they would do it all over again, no matter how many injuries they've had, they'd probably do it all over again. So it wouldn't be surprising to me that he comes back and wants to keep playing, but he's going to have to do it in a little bit different way just to protect himself a little bit more. Last year, he had no problems with injuries. They said he took jiu-jitsu in the offseason to learn how to fall down and things like that. Because most of his concussions, if you've seen the replays, it's from him falling and then his head slamming against the turf. It's not like somebody's taking these big shots in his head. He's not taking a bunch of head shots. It's his head slamming against the turf. So he kind of learned how to fall a little bit better and things like that. But, yeah, this is something you really don't know how it's going to affect you to maybe 20 years down the road.
You mentioned injuries and the NFL trying to eliminate them by shoring up the kicking game, the kickoff game specifically. They've got this cockamamie setup now where they're lined up at the 40, they're 10 yards apart, they're kicking from the 35. The ball goes through the end zone every time anyway. Do you see them maybe adapting this, moving the kicker back so we do get returns, or do you think they're just going to do away with kickoffs at some point?
Yeah, I think the reason why they went to this style was to, first of all, take away some of the big hits where you have guys running down the field, 40, 45 yards, full speed, and all these collisions. And they saw that a lot of injuries were happening that way. So they designed this way of doing it. I think the USFL did some of this, or the XFL, or whatever league. I mean, they got so many different letters, you don't know which league maybe designed this kickoff. But Yeah, it was also designed to make sure there were more kickoffs returns because it's still an exciting part of the game. They were trying to make sure that happened, but take away some of the physicalness of it. But so far, like you said, kickers have been kicking the ball in the end zone and the ball's been starting on the 30. I don't know what the percentage of returns have been, but it hasn't been very high. So they can move the ball back. And they kept it open when they put this rule in that they could adjust it if they needed to. I think they're going to need to adjust it at some point. I don't know if it's going to be during this season, but they can move the ball back to make sure they get more returns.
Warren, we have about 30 seconds left. Houston at Minnesota this week in Minneapolis. C.J. Stroud, your thoughts on the young quarterback for the Texans?
Man, thoroughly impressed by the way he played last year, and he's off to another great start this year. You can see the confidence in his game. They added another weapon, it's Stephon Diggs, and also, with the running back Mixon. So this is a very potent team, and their defense is really flying around. This is going to be a really, really good football game. The Minnesota crowd is going to be jazzed up and ready to go. I think what you said, it's a night game, right?
Actually, noon Central.
Noon Central. Okay, it doesn't matter. They're going to be ready to go, and that's going to be one of the games you want to watch this weekend because these are two good football teams right now in this season.
Warren, appreciate the insight as always, and I'm sure we'll be checking in with you down the road here in this season.
Sure will, guys. You guys take care, and you can pull out your Speedos. I guess it's really warm up there right now.
Yeah,
huh?
It's been warm in the Twin Towns.
Like
no doubt.
Malibu here, Warren. Come on up.
You guys laying by the pool, that would be an ugly sight, but go ahead.
Very ugly. We'll keep our clothes on. How's that?
Thank you.
Thanks, Warren.
Thanks, Warren. He is Warren Moon, the Hall of Famer and former Minnesota Viking, with us here on 10,000 Takes. Back with more after this timeout. Stay with us.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earrings. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Come and enjoy the 21st Annual Lakeville Art Festival, September 21st and 22nd. View original artwork from over 100 juried artists, accessibly located on the park-like grounds of the Lakeville Area Arts Center in historic downtown Lakeville. Shop the art and enjoy live music, food court, and a beer and wine tent. Participate in art demos, community and youth art projects. There's something for everyone at the premier art festival south of the Twin Cities. Visit LakevilleArtFestival.org for more information.
We are headed down the final stretch of the Major League Baseball regular season. Your Minnesota Twins have been a playoff team basically most of the season. They have been at minimum a wild card team for the most part, actually. But boy, man, it's been rough these last few weeks. They just watched that lead slip away slowly but surely. Detroit back into it. Seattle on the outskirts of possibly being a playoff team. Even Boston, who the Twins are taking on this weekend. So the question becomes, if they do make it into the postseason, are they good enough to do anything but come out of the first round? I mean, boy, I don't know about the pitching staff, man. You got two guys that I think you can lean on in Bailey Ober and Pablo Lopez. But then after that, it's all these young guys who are completely untested. And I'm not sure that they're going to be able to take them very deep.
If they get into the playoffs. As you said, the Mariners, the Tigers, and the Red Sox are getting closer in that rear view mirror. They are creeping up on the Twins. But if they get in, that's all that matters. I mean, you can limp in or you can charge in. One thing we know, they'll play right away. There will be no time off. They're not going to be a 1 or a 2 seed. And that may be to their advantage because you look at last season. The World Series participants. Texas won the series, wild card team. Arizona got their wild card team, crushed my LA Dodgers. I mean, so do I think the Minnesota Twins have that World Series look? No, I don't.
Absolutely not.
But if they get in, I'm not going to say they can't do it. I mean, you just got to get hot for a month. But the pitching is certainly a huge question mark. The bullpen, the second half of the season, has been in meltdown mode. I'm glad to see Byron Buxton back. Carlos Correa's back.
As of this taping.
Yes, exactly. There were games this week when Royce Lewis, Carlos Correa, and Byron Buxton were all in the lineup at the exact same time.
And there have been very few of those this year.
Very few.
I mean, like low double digits.
As the young folks say, screenshot that, right?
Yes.
That lineup card.
Yeah, well, and without those guys, I mean, they're all around, those two anyway, around 90 games. And actually, Royce Lewis is only like 70-some games. I mean, those are your three big guns, and they're not in the lineup. How do you play 162 games? So of the 150 plus that we're talking about at this point, those two had played 90, 91, 92, and Royce Lewis was in the 70s.
So how is this team still a playoff contender? I mean, we bang on Rocco a lot, and there's a lot of things he does that I don't agree with. Yeah. But, hey, if they get in, it's almost a Minnesota miracle.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. I was going to say the rest of the American League must not be very good, but I mean, they played well enough in the first half of the season. Let's give credit where credit is due.
They built up some equity. The other thing is, in the AL Central's better. 4 teams above 500, 1 well below it. Chicago, the White Sox. But all of those teams, and there may be 3 playoff teams out of the Central. We don't know yet. For sure, 2, most likely. So,
oh yeah,
they've had the opportunity to play the White Sox more than anyone else around MLB.
Well, yeah.
And that may be part of all of this.
There's no question. Kansas City, 12-1 against the White Sox. Minnesota, 12-1 against the White Sox. I think Detroit won like 10 of their 13 games against the White Sox. And Cleveland did, I think they were 9-4 against the White Sox, or 8-5. But so that just shows you that, yes, we have teams above 500, but we have maybe the worst team in the history of baseball, and they are pushing the envelope on that. They got to get over that 40-win mark in order to save themselves.
They're historically horrible.
Yeah.
So if you're Boston or Seattle, you only got one series at home and
either
one
six,
on the road.
Either 6 or 7 games
against the Chicago White Sox. So that's part of the deal. But just get in, Twins, and then you never know. But I don't know. They are limping to the finish line.
Yeah, they have certainly been that. One team that is not limping to the finish line, your Minnesota Lynx. They are a true contender to win the WNBA title this year for the first time, since Simone Augustus and company, won the, 4 of them now? Yeah. So Lindsay Whalen and Maya Moore, the whole crew. Do you think that they will win it?
I think they have a very good chance. First of all, they have, I would say, the best head coach in the WNBA in Cheryl Reeve, and general manager. She's won gold medals. Nafisa Collier is a superstar, and she's a gold medal winner too. But let's face it, Fee does not get the attention, doesn't garner the headlines that Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, or Asia Wilson does, right? So to me, what you have with the Lynx is a team that's still flying under the radar a bit. It's all about Caitlin Clark, and then it's all about Angel Reese. And Asia Wilson, now Las Vegas is going for 3 straight titles. They've probably earned it. But so I think the Lynx are just doing their thing, taking care of business, and at the end, they may be holding the WNBA trophy.
Okay. We'll find out soon enough. All right. More to come, including the always interesting, sometimes topical takes of the day. Stay with us.
Come and enjoy the 21st Annual Lakeville Art Festival, September 21st and 22nd. View original artwork from over 100 juried artists, accessibly located on the park-like grounds of the Lakeville Area Art Center in historic downtown Lakeville. Shop the art and enjoy live music, food court, and a beer and wine tent. Participate in art demos, community and youth art projects. There's something for everyone at the premier art festival south of the Twin Cities. Visit lakevilleartfestival.org for more information.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
10K takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. Big shout out to the viewers watching in the Twin Cities, including those on Fox 9 Plus.
Fox 9 Plus and the Fox 9 local app.
Yeah. Good to have you on board. All right, takes of the day. Are you a grumpy guardian, happy camper, angry American? What is it this week?
I don't know. Maybe I'm an angry Viking or an angry Viking fan. So the Pro Football Hall of Fame in fabled Canton, Ohio, released a list of 182 senior players. You have to be out of the NFL at least 25 years. So it goes back. Anybody who's played since 1999 is not eligible for this. To get into the Hall of Fame, a list of 182 will be narrowed down to 50. And then this group that is deciding this will then narrow it down to 3 possible candidates, of which all 3 could make it, just 1 could make it, none of them could make it. We shall see. In any case, former Viking great Chuck Foreman, who certainly deserves to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, is among the 182. So great. I'm happy for Chuck. So you and I had a chance to talk to Chuck about this, and he's insulted by the fact that he's just being considered at this point. Well, says Chuck. And you know what? I don't blame him. So when they go to 182 and then they get it down to 50 and then eventually down to 3, hopefully Chuck makes the cut all the way down and makes it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't know what they're thinking. Without Chuck Foreman, who revolutionized the National Football League's running back position by being a multi-dimensional back who would catch the football out of the backfield and run the football and led the Vikings to 3 Super Bowls and was an MVP twice and was Rookie of the Year, and on it goes. You could talk all you want about the Purple People Eaters, and they were a great defensive club. But without Chuck Foreman, that offense was not what it took to get to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I know they didn't win any Super Bowls, but Chuck, number 44, led them to the Super Bowl 3 times. So, Pro Football Hall of Fame writers and whoever else is on that committee, get it right this time and stop insulting our friend Chuck Foreman by saying he's being considered. My goodness.
Yeah, and the mood meter says you're a grumpy guardian, and for good reason. It's a miscarriage of NFL justice that Chuck Foreman, A, is not in the Hall of Fame, and B, he's got to wait and be put on a senior list. Give me a break. It's not really a Hall of Fame. And there's other guys on that list, too, who are getting hosed.
No doubt.
Okay, well, my take of the day, as you probably have detected the last couple of years, there's this narrative out there that Minneapolis, specifically downtown Minneapolis, not safe. Nobody goes there anymore. Well, I want to debunk that. I was in the great ballpark known as Trendy Target Field last week, saw Cincinnati and Minnesota. They had a decent turnout. A lot of Reds fans there. They showed up. Some San Francisco 49er fans were in the house, and of course a lot of Twins fans were in the ballpark too. The next day I watched the 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings play. Apparently the folks out there from 49er Nation and NorCal, they weren't worried about going to Minneapolis. I saw so much red I had to get some Visine in my eyes to get the red out. 49er people showed up to the Twin Cities. This week, you got Iowa Hawkeye fans coming up I-35 to see the Gophers and Hawkeyes. They will take over the city. You're going to have a Minnesota Lynx home playoff game, and the Texans and the Vikings will play again at the House of Noise. And I guarantee you, people from Texas will be here along with a ton of folks from Minnesota. So guess what? People are going back to downtown Minneapolis for sports, arts, theater, the bars, the restaurants. It's just a false narrative.
You made it out alive.
I did. I'm here to talk about it. On that note, we got to go. Goodbye. This is 10K Takes, your sports ticket.